Okay, so it's been a minute since I've had a video. I put a video on. I'm going to try to figure out how to do this because this is the first time that I've used my phone as a camera. I think I'm supposed to look here or here. No, that doesn't work. I think it's here, right? Or the greenwood. Does that work? So we'll work out the kinks of this one. I'm going to try to make more videos. I've got to get used to somehow making shorter videos, but at the same time, I don't want to compromise the authentic expression of the extemporaneous and ad hoc nature of what I do. I don't like to do scripted stuff. I might have notes or something that I look at to just sort of make sure I hit the bullet points of what I'm doing. I'm not doing that right now, but I think in the future I need to, because I tend to wander in the ways that I do. I absolutely trust the dynamics and mechanics of my mental process to continually align in integrity with truth. I've worked really hard to make sure my mind works in a way that is reliable and trustworthy in terms of being intelligent, an intelligent fathomer and articulator of truth. And I feel no other place I'd rather be than here. So a couple things. One thing I want to say just right at the beginning, and this is going to go where it goes. But I've been really, really grateful lately, really feeling this tremendous, immeasurable appreciation for making a lot of things connect in such a way that I'm able really to see really bigger truth, really bigger picture of what's going on. And particularly that concerns the question of where am I? More and more, I appreciate that I am not in the world. I have never been in the world. I never could be in the world. What I am and where I am is not there. The nature of what's here is not in the world. Lots of spiritual teachers say stuff like, we are of the world, or what is it? Of the world, but in the world, but not of the world, whatever. Yeah, well, it's the same thing, of the world and in the world. It's the same. Fact is, I'm not in the world. Never was, never could be. I appreciate a couple of sources I want to name directly for that, for really the conceptual linking that has allowed the perception to take place. And that perception takes place regularly now. Course in Miracles, absolute tremendous gratitude for what I've learned in the Course in Miracles. I invite anybody listening to this to check out A Course in Miracles. Take time with it. Go slow. Don't consume all that at once, but consume it in little bits. It is meant in that way. The first couple of sentences, once you get through the introduction, first couple of sentences just blow a lot of shit out of the water and never look back. Right? You are not here. You are not the ego. You are not the body. You are not thoughts. You are not your mind. You are not in time, of time. You're through time. Right? This thing, what's happening is, and I'm gonna throw another name out, Paul Hedderman. Appreciate you so much. I invite anybody who's listening that's not Paul to check Paul out on YouTube. Paul Hedderman. He's a non-duality, teacher of non-duality. That's the name that's given. Non-duality simply means not to, right? What you are is, it's more a question of where you are and what you are not. So Paul has a really cool way of approaching this whole thing of first you got to understand what you are not, right? Not the body, not the thoughts, not the mind. And then what is there? Well, that's the invitation. So that's where I'm, just kind of covering over this briefly, because I want to get to some other stuff. But really appreciating, understanding, and knowing what's going on, and that where I am or where I'm coming from, is not the world, and where I'm coming from, where I am, is not made of the same dynamics and ontology, we use that word a lot, as the world. The world comes and goes, the body comes and goes, and I, as awareness, as an without identity, without location, I do not come and go. The kingdom here on earth is through me, through the heart, through love. Course of Miracles straightens anybody out who doesn't understand what's going on, what love, right? Okay, Course of Miracles, right? Check it out. So the operation of love through the world, in the world, is part of God. So as long as there's love operating here, then there's no I doing it. And that I is not a formulation or amalgam or composition that's made of the same stuff as all the other composite amalgamated stuff that we call the world. Atoms, molecules, etc., building blocks, that sort of thing. So I wanted to offer some gratitude and appreciation for my teachers, for the ability to learn. And I want to give a shout out to what makes learning possible. And that is a hard road of giving up a lot of beliefs, a lot of opinions, ideas, theories, judgments, conclusions. We can go rewind that and make sure you understand each word. Judgment, conclusion, idea, belief, concept. These are mental processes that interfere with and eclipse the clear perception that I am not in the world, that I'm not of the world, that my nature of my being, the nature of my my being aware, is a divine nature, not mechanical, not composite, not amalgamated, not subject to coming and going. My true nature, the nature of awareness, the nature of being, is irreducible and inextinguishable. The world comes and goes. Awareness does not. Now, that doesn't mean that my awareness or your awareness is only awareness. Of course, conclusions and judgments and ideas and concepts and opinions and all that mental process has a name, and I'm the one that's doing it. It's my mind and my judgments, my conclusions, my beliefs, right? But awareness cannot be owned or corralled or lassoed in any way. Awareness is, by its nature, choiceless. And so as long as choosing goes on mechanically. Choosing is a mechanical system of judgment. Like, don't like, want, don't want, prefer, don't prefer, good and bad, right? A lot of people, this is very difficult for ego and for mind to understand and appreciate and see. It's the most difficult thing. That the words good and bad simply and always and only refer to that system of judgment. Liking, don't liking, wanting, don't wanting. A lot of people think that there's some definite substance, some core reality that is evil or bad, that things are bad. Things are actually measurably, objectively bad. Not so. It's the hardest thing for an ego to apprehend. Ego is trained by judgment. Ego's amalgamation, the glue of ego is judgment. And so as long as we go around calling things good or bad, or what we're doing is we're separating, we're dividing, excluding. When we call something bad, we want to exclude it. And if it's like really bad or evil, then it needs to be exterminated or extinguished. There's the ultimate and absolute state of exclusion, where bad belongs. Right, and we certainly don't want to be part of that. So we scramble around in our lives to make sure that we're doing good, that we're doing the good thing, that we're nobody's going to judge us, and that nobody's going to put us outside the circle. We don't feel welcome. Right, so as long as your mind goes around judging and saying things are bad and some people are bad, then you are at risk for somebody calling you that. And that is just irreducible to that system. You can't get around it. So when we cease from judging, we may enter a different ontology, the ontology of love, which is defined by its nature as accepting, trusting, appreciating, honoring, allowing. We can use the word unconditional positive regard. This comes from the psychotherapist named Carl Rogers. I invite you to check out what Carl Rogers had to say about unconditional positive regard. So really, the psyche is a bit of a trap. The mind's mental processes are a trap that confine you into identifying with the world, identifying with your body, identifying with your thoughts, identifying certainly with your judgments and conclusions. That's not who you are. It's a trick, it's a game, designed in a sense to try to lure you into some safe place. When we die, I hope we go to heaven. If we don't go to heaven, we're going to go to hell. And that's a scary place. That's a scary place where flames and devil pitchforks and all kinds of things and torture, and you don't get to be with your loved ones. And it's a horrible kind of fear that's induced artificially for reasons that we may go into another video. I may do a video right after this one about that. But it's important to suspend your own judgment, to cease from judging, to cease from identifying things in terms of good and bad, like and don't like, accept and don't accept. Simply accept what is. Because what is not the same as what becomes and unbecomes. What becomes and unbecomes, we could say, is changeable. And we can use the old Lord's Prayer of God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can change, and the wisdom to discern. That wisdom to discern, the wisdom to know the difference, is the most important thing. To know the difference between what's changeable and what's unchangeable. When we accept anything, we can change it. If something we don't like or something we don't want, we can learn how to change it, or we can change it externally, we can change it internally. But what we are is unchangeable. And so we must accept there. We must allow and trust there. You may not know its nature because you've been deluded into thinking, well, I might be good, I might be bad. I'm thinking that maybe underneath all this, all my mental process is a bad person, or a bad something that people don't want, don't like, won't accept. And that's the fear that is behind the narcissistic condition. I don't like to use the word narcissist because it's not an identity, it's simply a condition. The only identity is spirit, and spirit is eternal, inextinguishable, irreducible, and it's not in the world. So Paul has a way of saying, what does he say? On having never left, I never could have left the kingdom. The kingdom is always with me. I could never be apart from it. I am eternally safe. But as long as I'm in the world, the only safe, where there is security is through love. Because if I'm judging and I say, this is good and that's bad, so I'm going to cling to this and avoid that as a way of being safe, well, we're going to get stuck in a sense, in that whole being afraid of other people judging me. So it's an inescapable loop, and therefore we go unconscious about it. We ignore the parts of that loop and cycle, the parts that we don't like. So we learn to pretend and reject and avoid and deny, and it's a huge mental mess that one is better off, one is freer, one can only be free not practicing that. So learn how to cease from judging, and then you will be not afraid of judgment because you realize that it doesn't apply. It can never apply. There's an eternity and an unchangeableness to what you are and what I am and what being is. So trust that. Learn how. Learn how to trust your own being, not your mind, not the mental process. The mental process is untrustworthy. Any movement of the mind to alter or change or deny or resist or avoid or pursue or want or don't want, all that movement is confusing and exhausting, and it gets you nowhere. So be. And at once you are being okay. You're okay in being. You're eternally okay in being. Because being is not something you're making up. It's not an amalgam. It's not a composition. It's not something put together. It's irreducible and unchangeable. And it is eternally safe because it's not in the world, never was in the world, never could be in the world. So I think I'm going to call it quits on this particular segment of the speech. And I may give you may offer something about something else. We'll stay tuned and see. All right, bye.